Hi, I'm Matt.
I'm Derek.
We're here just to answer a couple questions from some of the users.
Yeah.
So
right,
let's kick it off.
We'll start with Rock Golf asked, celebrity endorsements, who was the first you can remember and who gave you the biggest thrill?
Well, not so for me. It wasn't so much a celebrity endorsement as we had an article written to us about us from the guy who does the Saturday Times of the Times of London, and he wrote this big long article about trying to memorize the periodic table of elements and his epic quest and staying up late, and it was a pretty fun thing. We woke up one day and had just a ton more plays on the site and had no idea why. And so we had to track down that it was an article published by that. So that was pretty cool. That was a big thing for me.
What about you? For me, this was also in the early days. Oddly enough, I'd have to say Elijah Dushku from Buffy the Vampire Slayer and True Calling. She tweeted about us one day saying she was obsessed with our site, and we got all of this referral traffic from Twitter from Elijah Dushku. In fact, for a long time, one of our internal Wi-Fi names was Dushku in honor of that tweet. If you don't know who that is, look it up. It's worth your time. All right, from B Henderson 79. What's the weirdest site you've ever seen a large amount of referral traffic coming from?
I don't know if weird, but certainly our early kind of random site that got a lot of people to our site, and this is going to come as a big surprise to any good Sporcle user, is it was a site called IamBored.com, and they linked to our Pokemon quizzes, and pretty much for a while they would kind of link to anything we did. It was a pretty good sized site back then, certainly bigger than us at the time, and it got a lot of people who were, I don't know, maybe bored, and they came to our site, but then hopefully we're a little less bored when they got there.
I don't think I have a weird site outside of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Skull 9179 or Scully 9179 asked, how did it start? And Zalcon 2004 asked, did you always intend for this to be a business, or did it kind of start as a hobby or project? What were some of the biggest challenges to getting it off the ground? And then also, have you ever been tempted to figure out a way on April Fools to turn every published quiz on the site into a minefield? So we're going to combine those two questions. So how did it start, Matt?
Original idea, actually, for Sporcle, and this is probably related to questions that other people had asked as well, is that what I intended to do at first with Sporcle was to allow people to make predictions on sports events like playoffs and stuff, and people could say, guess who was going to win the NHL playoffs. It was really popular in Minnesota. They just loved the site. They had their group and they were totally into it. Unfortunately, there was this message board in Minnesota, and they were the only ones who were terribly into it. So I did a lot of other things, namely do the draft, but none of them were never really caught on outside of this really cool message board in Minnesota. So
I also remember it seemed like it was a lot of work.
It was a lot of work. In fact, I had to push buttons after each game happened, so that the site could update the winners and the losers of the various brackets. So that's the preamble to, I had created this quiz to remember the presidents. Basically, if you know your presidents, you're going to get crossword answers, you're going to do well in Jeopardy. So I just wanted to memorize all those, put that out, and a lot of people played it. It got linked to a site named Dig. Some people.
Which also might be one of those weird internet sites that link to us.
Yeah, one of those weird internet sites. It was really big there for a while. So, and after that, I just kept making more quizzes, and more people really liked to play them.
Do you want to follow it?
So,
did you always intend for it to be a business?
So I would say I did intend for it to be a business. I didn't expect it to work. But certainly the fact that it worked and succeeded was hoped, but I wouldn't say expected would be a pretty strong term for that. So.
And as for the April Fools portion. April Fool's has a long, rich history at Sporcle. We try and do something April Fool's related every year. So next year, actually, maybe we will make every quiz a minefield. There's something to that. I think our April Fool's project that we, at the time, were most excited about, that everyone else hated, was when we made a special quiz down. We were at the time just working out of libraries, and we made a special quiz for the alphabet. And I remember just giddy and giggling about making this alphabet quiz. You'd name the letters of the alphabet, but instead we'd show you the Russian alphabet as you got deeper into it, and then insult you if you got it wrong. And we thought that was really funny. No one else really did, so we ended up making a lot of people, I think, more frustrated than entertained with that portion. You guys don't happen to have an office tauntaun? Isn't that the thing from Star Wars?
That's tauntaun, not tauntaun. That's tauntaun.
Be Forever asked, what are the top 3 meals the office have together after a long day of work? You can always fall back on beer. The office is actually pretty close to a brewery, so those could be the top 3 meals. But more than anything, I'd say that eating and lunch and meals in general at the office end up being fairly epic and consume large parts of discussions throughout the day. We try and eat together as a group, or at least in small groups throughout the week. And that might actually be the hardest thing about working at Sporcle, is figuring out what to eat and where to eat. We're always hungry early, and I think it takes us at times a couple hours to actually make a decision on where to go. So
we start talking about lunch, about when we get in the morning, and then by the time lunch happens, there's a chance that we'll have figured out what to eat that day. Thanks for all the questions, and we'll maybe answer some more next time.
Yeah.
And hope you had some fun, and we'll see you again next time.
Yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.